So we're back, and the next part we're going to show you is the migration. So this is where I got my config file at close. So now if I refresh here, you're going to see here, it's going to show the curve. It's going to, as you can see, everything's going to come in green, and then it's going to show you basically, okay, my connector is healthy, and you can notice how much neater this is now at this point, right? With this whole new service we have going on, it certainly has become way cooler than the old legacy. Don't worry if those stay loading for a little bit, it'll restore itself out. So I refreshed my screen here. You can see here now it's talking about that migration. And this is a really great thing that VMware did, because people are going to be decidedly freaking out around the whole virtual app migration because it hasn't worked for a long time on the newer connectors. So you're going to hit continue here. And so you can see here, you know, we've already installed our connectors. So what you're going to do here is you're going to click migrate under your directory. And so it wants the password in there, which is fine. You'll have directory sync hosts. You might have multiple. You want to make sure you select them all. Same with the Kerberos. We're going to check that out. Just pause for a second. Seems like my Kerberos is not responding, so I'm just going to restart the VIDM connector and give it a second. Okay, so we're back. So now that we restarted services, we're starting to look a little bit better here. So I'm going to hit next. Same deal with everything else. So you want to kind of keep a good eye on this here. So you want to make sure. So what sometimes you might want to do is you might want to create a brand new load balance pair for the migration, and from a transition perspective, it's up to you. So, you know, for me, I'm putting the same thing in. Hit next, and then I'm going to hit save. And we finally have been able to successfully migrate. And again, the trials and tribulations of working with a lab, no big deal. So we don't have any virtual collections. And so now what you do is you click the Start Preview button. Okay, so what this has done now is this has transitioned us over to the 2100 connectors. But we're not quite ready yet. We have some fun to engage in. So remember how we set this on 444 instead of 443? Well, what I found is it doesn't really like, Kerberos doesn't really like to work when you use 444. So what we have to do is we're gonna stop the IDM connector, so that nothing's now listening on 443. Now what we will do is we're gonna stop. I should say we're gonna modify. So we go workspace 1 access. You see how much easier and better it is configured here now as far as just like the layout. Conf. And I can tell you for one that's wrong. So we're gonna do a couple things here. I'll show you. So the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to your VIDM folder and you're going to copy out the KRP5 key tab and drop it here. So now you're basically carrying over that other config. And now we're going to go into application properties and we're going to change this to 443. Yes, it is just that easy. Now we hit that. Now we're going to go back in and we're going to restart the Kerberos auth service so it gets that new config. And to recap, we grab the KRB5 key tab from the old VIDM environment. We drop it on the new access environment. We set the port to 443 and we restart the service. So now that that's done, we will do a quick test of services here. And actually, before we do that, let's just talk about what actually happens. So what they do is they basically create like these placeholders, these migrated sections, and so you have all these migrated sections, and so what happens is you're now in this mode where it'll allow you to test out stuff and make sure stuff works before fully committing, which is really useful. So we'll go in, we'll do a quick sync. Okay, that's one of the things we want to test. We want to make sure sync works. Okay, so we tested that works. That's golden. Obviously, the other thing that we're going to want to go ahead and test will be Kerberos. And look at that. Our Kerberos is working like a charm. And so, since we've validated all these things, there's one last thing for you to do. So you're going to go back in and hit continue. And now we're back in this cool migration dashboard. And you're going to click complete. If you click abort, it actually rolls everything back to using the other connector. But you'll basically hit complete, you'll hit OK. You'll see here when you go into stuff now, it still has the migrated, which is cool, all cool. You have all this, and you're going to see here you just have your nice new pretty connector. And then you'll wrap things up in a bow by going in and uninstalling Identity Manager. And it was just that simple, and now you're ready to rock and roll.